Okay, so let's dive into Coco's training so we can stay consistent at home. When we're working with Coco, we want to reward the behaviors we want to continue to see. That way we increase the rate of those behaviors, and we want to use her training tools to correct the unwanted behaviors to decrease the rate of those behaviors. So when we're working with Coco, we reward what we want. We follow through with these training tools to make sure that she listens to our training at home, not just here at the training facility. So let's start with her prong collar. We're going to use this whenever we have the leash on Coco, we take her for walks. This is going to help us give her little reminders when she gets a little distracted or forgets what she's supposed to be doing. So how we put this collar on Coco, what I like to do is I like to hold one of the prongs steady at the very base of the prong down here. So I'm going to hold it steady. Then what we need to do is this prong needs to go down to come undone so we can put it around Coco. We can't just slip this over her head. We do have to take it apart. So we're going to make sure these are parallel, and we're going to push through to make sure that they come undone. Then we put this around Coco, and we're going to squeeze this prong together to make sure that it goes in and they line up nice and straight like that. With the leash, we are going to attach it to the rotating D-ring. We want to make sure we attach it here so it makes this nice clean triangle. We do not want to keep the leash tight all the time with Coco. We just pop and release as needed for her. So let's dive into one of the commands, loose leash walking, so we can see how to use this collar properly. Whenever we're walking with Coco, she walks on the left-hand side on a nice loose leash in the heel command. 85 to 90% of her walk should be in the heel. The other 10 to 15% she can be in a free, which is where she can walk and explore, and we follow her versus Coco following our lead, our command. So in the heel, she needs to be right next to us on the left-hand side with a loose leash. If she decides to get a little distracted and go forward, we're going to say no, give the leash a little pop, and tell her heel. What we're doing is we're telling her that's incorrect, we're following through, and then reminding her of what she needs to do. Then as she's walking next to us on a nice loose leash, good heel, and we reward that with praise, petting, and treats. So no, pop, command. No, pop, command as needed. Then we have her remote collar. So let's turn on this collar so we can use this as well to follow through with our commands. The collar itself has a little red dot right here. That is a magnetic key. The matching magnetic key is on the remote. We touch the two together to turn on the collar. So we're going to touch the two, and you're going to see a green light flash. That green light's going to flash every few seconds to let you know that the collar's on, charged, and ready to go. When we put this on Coco, we put it underneath her chin. So let's turn on her remote first. The on-off button in the back, we're going to push and hold that. It's the big red button in the center until the screen lights up. We are going to then focus on the black S button. So we're going to pretend my hand is Coco. So we're in a heel again, walking next to us, doing great. She gets a little distracted. She walks ahead. No, button, command. No, button, command. So this is an electric muscle stimulator, and you notice that it twitches my thumb a little bit. This is not painful. It's just a little stimulation to give her a reminder of, hey, you need to be walking next to us, not getting distracted by leaves or squirrels. So heel means walk next to us on a loose leash. No tension on the leash except for the little tug if needed. So no, correction, heel, reward when she's in the position. So we're going to use these tools to follow through with all of our commands with Coco. So let's go into sit. Sit means stay until she is told free. So for example, door manners. We go to a door, we tell her sit. We open the door, you have two options. You can either tell her sit and give her a reminder, sit, almost like saying stay, walk through the door and then tell her free, or you can tell her free and walk through the door together. I prefer the second one just because it saves a trip from having to make her stay and then wait. Instead, we walk out nice together, then I can close and lock the door behind me if needed. So with the sit, it's a short-term stay, and she needs to stay in the sit until you tell her free or heel. So free is the release term. She can get up from that command. It basically means, hey, we're done with that command. You can get up. For down in place, we're going to talk about those in a second. We don't free from a distance. With sit, it's a little bit more lenient. You can free from a distance because it is a short duration stay versus a long duration stay. With a longer duration stay, for example, down. So with sit real quick, if she gets up from the sit, no, sit, just like you would with heel. You follow through if she doesn't listen to your command or if she breaks the command. So let's talk about down. Down means lay down and stay. So whenever we practice down, we're going to tell her the verbal down. If she goes down, great, we're going to reward that. If not, no. Maybe a little tug on the leash down to let her know, hey, when I say the verbal cue, it means to lay down when I say it once, not 6 times. So we want to make sure she listens to our command the first time, not the 10th time. That's why we follow through after the first time if she doesn't listen to the command. So we have her in a down. When we're working on the stay part, instead of having her remember the word stay, we just repeat the word down when we want to give her a reminder to stay in the down position. So in the video, you'll see when I tell her down and I'm walking away, I say good down. Those are both praising her and giving her verbal reminders. When I say good down, it means stay there. Now with down in place, we don't release from a distance. We don't say free from 10 feet away. We always go back to her, tell her she did a good job, reward, and then we say free. So for the down, good down, I reward low. That way she gets rewarded being in the down position, and then I tell her free and she can get up from that position. If she gets up before we say free, no, correction, down, put her back into the down. She has to stay until you say free. Same thing with place. Place is just a boundary stay on a bed, so she doesn't have to lay down, but all 4 feet have to remain on the elevated boundary. If she gets off, no, button, leash if needed, to follow through, correct her, and then tell her place. We reward on the bed, so we don't reward right after a correction because we don't want to tell her no, yes. We want to have a little bit of time. Okay, she's got it, she's staying, good place. So place means stay on that boundary. When we're doing distractions, good place. We're, throwing hula hoops, toys to distract her. We're knocking on the door. Good place. We're reminding her and we're praising her for staying on the bed. Then when we're ready for her to get off a place, we always go back to her, tell her good place, reward, then tell her free. We don't free from a distance. If we did free from a distance, that would weaken the stay because instead of getting a reward while staying in the command, she gets the reward when she comes to us, which is more like come when called. Which brings us to come when called. We're going to have her on a safety net of a 30 to 50 foot long leash whenever we have her out and about, not in a fenced in area. That is for a safety net to reel her in case she doesn't listen to you and doesn't respect the collar. So we always practice with safety in mind. So with the come when called, we tell her free. Free means, again, she's not in any specific command. She can explore, and we let her do her thing. She can sniff, go to the bathroom. She is in a free to a certain extent. She can't jump and act crazy or anything, but she's free to explore. When we want her to come back to her, Coco, come. As she runs to us, we want to praise the action of her coming when we call. We're going to tell her, good girl, good job, have her sit, and then give the reward. So all is well. She listens when we call her. Let's say she doesn't listen to your command. You say, Coco, come, and she's like, nope, I want to sniff this blade of grass real quick. It's really interesting. We're going to say, no, come. And we're going to repeat that, no, come, until she comes to us. Now, the difference with come when called and all the other commands is you're still going to reward her because the follow-through, the correction happened out there. We are still the positive fun zone. So you got a correction out there. You came when we called. Good girl. We're still going to reward that because we want to have a strong reward history of Coco coming to us when we call. A reward history is a positive association with doing a certain behavior through getting rewards and treats consistently for doing that behavior or command. Then we have leave it. Leave it is just a term that, hey, don't get that off the ground. So when you drop something, leave it. If she still goes for it, leave it. You can say no, leave it, or you can just make leave it the term. That means if you don't listen to it, the follow-through happens. So leave it. If she doesn't, leave whatever you're dropping on the ground. Practice with dog safe foods first. That way you can make sure that she understands leave it in your home, not just here at the facility. Whenever you're working with Coco, I recommend having the leash on to start. That way you can show her a little bit what the new boundaries are in the house, so she has an easier time transferring it over. With dogs, respect doesn't transfer automatically to person, so we have to show Coco, hey, I know the rules just like the girls at the training center. I know the rules as well because she likes, any dog will push the boundaries with each new person. So we have to make sure we follow through. Reward the behaviors you want to keep seeing. Use the tools to follow through so she doesn't push your boundaries. Now you're going to have fun with her. Stay consistent, and now we're going to show you Coco's commands.
Good girl. Oh, you okay? Sit. You're down. Good job. Down. Good girl. Heel. Good job. Good girl. Good heel. Sit. Breathe. Coco, come. Sit. Good girl. Breathe. Coco, come. Good girl. Sit. Breathe. 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 Coco, come. Good girl. Sit. Good job. Good girl.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Beautiful dog.
Thank you. Sit. Yeah. Sit. Sit. No. Sit. Good. Sit. Yeah.
Girl, down. Good job. Down. Good girl. Good down. Good down. Good down. Good down.
Oh, all that stuff? Oh.
Good down. Down. Good. Oh, there you go. Good girl. Free. Good job. Good girl.
They call themselves Brandy. They're going to be there. Like, I gotta come sometime. They were at Lowe's this summer. We went to start picking them up.
Leave it. Good girl. Good job. Oh, we got one. Okay. Okay. That's it. No, look. There you go. Good job. Good job. Hey. Hey, Coco. Look. Leave it. Good girl. Okay. Wait. Wait. Okay. Good job. Good job. You didn't see that one. Let's do it again. Go. Leave it. Good girl. Okay. Okay. Good job. Good job. Good girl. Place. Good job. Place. Place. No. Place. Okay, let's go over the other features of the remote collar. So we know how to turn the collar on. Let's turn the collar off. So we're going to touch the 2 red dots. You're going to see a red light. That means the collar is off. It'll last about 2 days on a charge if you turn it off at night. We'll turn it back on. Big button in the middle, on, off. Turns the remote off. We're going to turn that back on. So we talked about the red S button, that's going to stimulate at level 15. The black S button stimulates at level 15. This is what you're going to use for everyday commands. The red button is going to add 15 to the level that's on the screen. This is your emergencies only button. Let's say you're practicing with Coco and you have her off leash because you've practiced, you trust her, and all of a sudden she darts for the road. No, come, you've called her, she's ignoring this because whatever stimulation has her fired up. So to put it in perspective, 15 handles any distraction from here down. If she's chasing something that puts her distraction level up here, 15 isn't really going to communicate with her the way it normally would. So what the red button does is it will increase to match that level, that temporary increase until she relaxes again, and then we have level 15. So we have not needed this yet for Coco. It is for emergencies only, just in case. The hope is that you never need it, but you have it just in case you do need it. And then we have the T button over here, which is vibrate. I like to do this or press this button when I first turn on the collar to make sure that I have turned the collar on, so I don't put a collar on Coco that's not turned on, because then I'm going to be like, why isn't this working? So I push it a couple times to make sure the collar's on. In the future, you can use this as a warning button for Coco. So hey, she's doing pretty good, but she's starting to act up for whatever reason. Hey, give her a little reminder, say, remember what you're supposed to be doing before you stimulate. Now, I recommend, again, doing this a couple months down the road. That way you establish the boundaries first before being too lenient with her, because, again, respect doesn't transfer automatically. We have to show her we understand the rules and we know what to do to follow through with the training. Then on the back, the on-off button also functions as a flashlight. So if we tap it, we can see Coco at night. I love that feature. So when you put this collar on Coco, I recommend having the light facing out, because if it's facing towards her shoulder, you're going to have a hard time seeing that flashlight. So I recommend having it face out and putting it anywhere underneath. This does have to fit snug so the contact points make good connection with her skin. So level 15 is working for Coco right now, but let's show you how to adjust that if needed. So this is locked. If the 1D up here at the top of the screen is solid, that means the level is locked where it is. If we push and hold it, you'll see that the 1D is now flashing, and we can adjust the level if needed. So at home, if you're working with Coco and you're having to use this over and over and over and over again, level 15 just isn't enough for that environment. We might have to turn it up to 20 or 25. If you're using it and she seems to be overreacting to it, then it might be a little too high for that environment, and we can turn it down to 10. So turn it to the level you want, push down and hold it, lock it in place so we don't accidentally turn it up or down when we're working with Coco. This little M/C button on the back, you don't have to worry about it. It changes the setting from momentary to continuous. So for example, if I push and hold this, no matter how long I hold this button for, it's just going to stimulate that momentary second. If we change it to the C, that's continuous, meaning it'll stimulate the entire time we're holding it down. We do not need that for Coco. We use that in the beginning stages of training on a very low level to pair it with food, so she enjoys having this remote collar on. She enjoys working with it. So it's a positive association for her. This is rechargeable, so the charging port is on the back. It is waterproof, so make sure this is sealed in case you drop it in a puddle. Same thing for the the collar underneath here. So she can wear this 12 to 14 hours a day, take it off at night to either turn it off or charge it. Again, it'll last a couple days on a charge if you turn it off at night. And every couple of days, I would have it over here and then rotate it over here. This does have to fit snug, so you don't want her to have a collar spot, which means she just has the pressure in the same spot all the time, and that will lead to possibly getting a hot spot. Same thing if she gets wet. She can go swimming with this on, but if you leave it on too long, like an excessive amount of time, like let's say 24 hours without taking it off, the moisture will let bacteria grow, and that could lead to a hot spot or a collar spot, which is just going to be a little irritation right here, so we don't want to have that happen. So make sure after she's done swimming, you take the collar off, you let her dry thoroughly before putting the collar back on. With this collar, she can wear it in the house, but I recommend just when you have the leash on, having her wear this. That way you can follow through on the leash as needed. So you might want to wear the leash, you might want to have her wear the leash on in the house for a little bit, maybe a week or so, and then you can start fading away and just relying on the remote collar. In the box, we have her charger, which will charge both the remote and the collar at the same time. We have her little prongs. So the remote collar comes with these little ones. She has really long and thick hair, so we went ahead and changed them out to the longer prongs that come with the package. If you get her hair cut short and you want her in a little summer puppy cut, you can change the long prongs out to the short ones using this tool, or you can just leave the long ones on, that's fine. Instruction manual to go over all the buttons in greater detail. This collar does have a 2-year warranty. So if anything happens to this collar in the next couple years, just contact the company and they will ask you what's going on, and then they will send you a replacement or troubleshoot to make sure the collar is working for you. We do have to stay consistent using the training tools. It takes a dog about 2 to 3 weeks to learn a behavior, but 4 to 6 months of practice for long-term memory. It depends on each dog individually if they are going to just respect the commands and not need these tools as long, or if they're going to be pushy and they're going to challenge your command and then they're going to need the collars for a little bit longer. So it just depends on what our goals are. So you want to make sure you stay consistent and use these tools as instructed and as needed. That way she listens to your command for a long time and we can have a well-behaved, balanced dog. Let us know if you have any questions, and as always, have fun and stay consistent.